Hello and welcome to the next episode of Two Girls Talk Transits. Today we're reviewing the astrology from May 3rd through the 9th, and we're your host. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Kaylee.
So welcome back. We have a short week this week, but um intense week, I would say. We're gonna start off on May 4th on the Monday with Mars in Aries squaring Jupiter in Cancer. And so yeah, this is a big one, kind of a big event. This is interesting. I mean, it's not as intense as that Mars Saturn conjunction that was at the end of April, but it's still a significant kind of piece to it. And yeah, Jupiter is exalted here, Mars is in domicile, and they're both very strong and like very potent. And so they're both like making each other grow and expand in conflicting ways. So like Mars is really trying to take a lot of action and move things forward and be individualistic in Aries, and Jupiter is trying to take more expansion into the comforts of life, enjoying stability and feeling nurtured. And then you are both trying to do both of those things, and then they hit a point where you can't have both. Like you can't be comfortable and still take this action, or you
Hmm.
can't stay safe and then still have this risk to get your reward, you know? And so I think this square just speaks a lot to like now there's compromise somewhere, or you're going to run into this friction in these two areas of your life.
Yeah,
How
for
do you
sure.
feel?
I think you described it like really well. It is like one of those situations like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like it is like you mentioned, like that do versus expand. Like, are you going to take action for yourself or are you going to, yeah, like expand towards the comforts or like the things that make you feel good? And I do think it is like that moment of kind of weighing what's more important to you, like is like striking out or like taking a step towards the unknown and like that maybe the scarier thing that you kind of have to be the leader in more important to you, or is it more important for you to maintain your safety and your comfort? And it might not be like one or the other has a better answer, but you do have to, make that decision for yourself. And really will come into play on this day. Like, what do you want? Do you want safety and comfort, or do you want like to go forward like a strong boss? Like one way
Yeah.
or the other.
Yeah, I will say like Mars is in the overcoming position. So like in traditional astrology in the squares, the sign that is like in earlier is a diagonal order to the other sign is what they would say has like more strength in the square or like more overcoming power. So I do kind of think it's just because
Like
two Mars
zodiacal order, like because Aries is the first.
Aries, yeah,
Yeah,
Aries, Taurus, Gemini, like going from Aries down through Pisces.
gotcha.
Um, so yeah, Aries is technically ahead of Cancer in zodiacal order, so it's therefore overcoming Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, and also too, the fact that Mars is the faster moving planet in this situation, so it seems to speak to some story as to like wherever Aries is in your chart or whatever Mars and Aries has been for you, you've been taking a lot of action, you've been doing a ton in that part. And now you're starting to realize that all the energy and action that you're taking means that, oh, I'm gonna have to give something up, or I'm gonna have to like be uncomfortable with this thing. Um, or just hit some sort of friction point in terms of like that part of my life has been so big and expansive or loud and stable, or like just it's prominent. I feel like wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's been prominent for the past 8, 9 months right now. And now you're like, I'm gonna have to give some of that up because I still want this other goal of Mars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like making that decision that makes you walk away from the comfort. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know, just kind of like notice that. I think it will be like a lot. Jupiter's always a lot, and the moon's in Sag, so it will be a lot, but I think it will be like, yeah, you have to like decide, is this goal worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that also, that focus on like bigger hopes and dreams, with the moon and Sag and Jupiter and
Right.
Cancer like coming into the aspect. You are thinking about like your longer term hopes and dreams. And maybe you do have to like sacrifice like the immediate comforts to like reach those hopes and dreams. Like what
Yeah.
direction do you need to go in to do that? Yeah.
Yeah. Mars likes discomfort, so it is leaning so much into that. Discomfort is the way to go. And Jupiter doesn't like discomfort. Jupiter likes comfort. So,
Yeah, for sure. I know. Yeah, so today is, yeah, I think that you're just gonna feel a bit of like that
yeah.
polarity between the two. Cool. And then moving forward on the 5th, we have another square. We move into Mercury squaring Pluto. So Mercury is in Taurus now. We moved into Taurus several days ago. And then we have the square to Pluto. And I think, on this following day, and we'll talk about it, we do have Pluto stationing retrograde. And I think this might kind of speak to like this Plutonian energy, because we have conversations about Pluto coming up. I do think too, this can be like a furthering conversation of like comforts versus like inner desires because with Mercury and Taurus you're thinking about things that are stable and comforting to you and provide you like this longer term stability, and then it's like versus this Plutonian element which is like trying to make this radical and drastic change in your life. So I think this is almost like a continuation of the astrology that we had the day before, and then also speaking to like some astrology that we have coming up the following day. um, yeah, I just think it's like a lot about our deeper desires, our longer goals, and how maybe do our thoughts conflict with that, with like what we really want, or um, yeah, like are we too attached, Like Taurus in general can represent our attachments. So are we too attached to certain things in our life that's preventing us from making these more drastic changes that Pluto is trying to bring about?
Yeah, that's a good point because I was when I was prepping a lot of the readings for May too, I was just really noticing. You remember like in January and February even when we just had these huge pileups in like Capricorn and Aquarius with like Venus, Mars, Mercury, and
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
all the planets were like just right there together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you look at this, like we're way more spread out. Venus is ahead in Gemini, the Sun and Mercury are kind of close together for right now, but Mars is behind. Now we have this more spread out. So, in our lives too, we can see how we are spreading out more. Like we're not so concentrated into one thing or one event. We all have multiple things now starting to happen or shift and change in our lives. And the Mercury squaring Pluto, I think, can just be kind of a bigger realization of like what it has been changing because Mercury is ruling like the Uranus and the Venus right now. And there's like this understanding of like bigger undercurrent shifts happening that are like Plutonia in nature, like the deeper story of why all of this has been happening since January or so, like when we were having these conjunctions to Pluto, and now it's like
Mm-hmm.
branching out. And so I just think there's a lot of information, obviously, with Mercury here in terms of like what is this deeper like transformation you're experiencing personally? Where are you like again hitting that edge as you were talking about? I do agree there's like an edge now that the planets are spread out. You have all these different competing area of your life now that you're not all conjuncting together. They're now doing different things. So what is actually important to you? Now you have more variety, you have more options, you have more
Right.
different things to focus on. What is important or what is the most important or what is the actual priority here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it can kind of be like difficult to understand maybe what the priority is just because we
Oh,
have
for sure.
yeah, we have so much spread out planets and they're all like in the different modalities. We have fire, earth, air,
Mm-hmm.
and water,
Right.
so it's like we're trying to tend to all these different areas of our life maybe at one time. And it is, that is a difficult task, not everything can be tended to at once. So there will
And it,
be, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, and you can like realize too, like with Pluto, like what things are falling apart because you can't tend to them all at once.
Hmm.
Like what pieces are you now letting go of or missing because you got distracted,
Well,
you
that's
know?
very, that's very much like mercurial energy too, to be like
Yes.
scattered. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it can be, kind of how is that scattered energy, really derailing the whole situation.
I don't know. Yeah, it is. And I mean, yeah, well, I'll just talk about the next one just
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
on the next day on Wednesday, Pluto is actually stationing retrograde. So Pluto is very loud. And now this is our first, y'all, this is our first outer planet to station retrograde. So we are now in this process of review. We had this period of time, I think it was in February when everything went direct. So we had like February, March, April of like I mean, I had a lot of forward momentum. I was mailing a lot of different things that I haven't done those 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the initial start of that review. Like, okay, you've been, especially in like Aquarius part of your life, you've been gathering information, you've been intensifying that. Mercury's been showing you how that's been a bigger part of your life, a bigger part of your truth. And, just as deep, that intensity gets really loud today is like, wow, that is really something that I'm transforming, or wow, that is really something that I am changing that I haven't done before, or I'm really seeing like the power significations of this area of my life more clearly. Like Mercury could really be honing in on that and
Mm-hmm.
making the Pluto stuff so loud today.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely do think like the day before on Tuesday and, this day on Wednesday, like Plutonian aspects are going to be super loud. So, yeah, I wouldn't doubt if there's like quite a bit of like mental distress or just like feeling like Pluto can kind of be like, since it's bringing things from the subconscious, like up to the conscious level, it can be very like confronting and heavy and, difficult to process. So I wouldn't be surprised if like on these 2 days, there's like this just air of like heaviness or like, you know, like undercurrent of like distress or something.
Yeah, for sure. Just like real uncomfortable feelings. Like, I just, wherever Pluto has been moving in your chart, that's been an area of intensification in general. And so you're going to uncover something that you missed, or something that was painful, or just hurtful, or just dark, darker stuff is Pluto. So like, it is not going to be comfortable. The moon's in Capricorn too. That sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
I know it sucks. I think too, like Pluto kind of moving backwards is like, Pluto in general, like, is this when it cycles through and like transits through your personal chart, it takes like 19 or 20 years plus or minus to like move through a particular sign. Um, and while it's moving through that sign, it's like totally transforming things to make you like more powerful through the process. But it's like you're not gonna get through and be able to attain that power without a lot of difficulty and without like realizing the like darker depths of everything. And I think when Pluto retrogrades, it's almost like this feeling of like you've been gaining like these small moments of power or like kind of like having this forward momentum through this like deeper transformation. When it retrogrades, it's like, oh, like I'm losing power a little bit, or like I'm having to like review these things that I thought I had worked through subconsciously, or like, it's like a revisitation of things you thought you had already worked through or like dealt with. And it kind of, I think it can be this like kind of subconscious, like ego. How do you like say going down? Like your subconscious ego is kind of like, oh man, like, like I still actually think like really bad things or like I need to like
Mm-hmm.
work on all this stuff that's behind the scenes.
Yeah, your darker life of your shadow
Mm-hmm.
energy coming out. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Pluto is gonna like especially if you're having like a positive kind of Pluto experience where you feel like you're gaining power in this new area of your life and it feels like you're like, oh, I can take strength here. Like this is cool. Like I'm gaining this strength in myself. And then Pluto will retrograde and then it's like, oh, I actually didn't realize I missed all these things because I was just too high in my ego and too high
Right.
thinking I had this right. And actually, I don't have as much power as I thought, or, I was misusing my power. Actually, I was hurting
Yeah.
people.
Or I was like able to ignore like my
Yeah.
subconscious for like a period of time, but now it's like unable, like I'm not able to ignore it. And it's like
Yeah.
loud
It's like
in
now
there.
I'm like
Yeah.
uncomfortable with this because it's like, oh crap, I was actually causing pain, or this is actually
Mm-hmm.
unavoidable.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we do have like a 6 month period while it's retrograde, so I do think in some ways or another we're going to feel like we are backtracking in like the power realms that deal with
yeah.
whatever Aquarius is in our chart. Um, yeah, but it's not going to be forever. So, and the cool thing about Pluto is like it's like the phoenix, so it's like whatever hurts you brings you back stronger, so it's not like all that bad, even though it like
Yeah.
sucks to go through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at least for, government things like collective experiences, I feel like Pluto and Aquarius has like, intensified a lot of the government power. So maybe we'll see some changing of the power structures in our government or in countries in general, or just with that piece. I don't know. That will be interesting, especially because now Uranus is kind of forming that whole sign trying to Pluto and like furthering disrupting Pluto's power a little bit.
Yeah. I am
Uh,
curious about like kind of
uh,
what that'll bring. I hope
yeah, the
so, but
summer.
yeah.
I don't
Hmm.
know. It'll be interesting. We'll have more to this. I think Neptune will be stationing next, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But that was all our major events for the week. We do have lunar transits, so if you bump it to Thursday real quick, I just want to see. I think it, or was there anything else you want to talk about there?
No, not for then. No.
Okay. Yeah, so Thursday the moon is going to square Mars. That
Yeah.
sucks. So
Yeah,
that's
and then
probably,
Friday
oh, go
it'll
ahead.
conjunct Pluto. Go ahead.
Pluto. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thursday and Friday are just kind of be like probably be closer to Saturday. I don't know. You can bump it one more day to the Friday. Yeah, it will be Friday. So yeah, Thursday and Friday are just kind of play out the same theme as we started because Thursday
Mm-hmm.
the moon will be squaring Mars, activating that Mars Jupiter square or
Mm-hmm.
activating that. And then Friday the moon will be meeting Pluto in
Pluto.
Aquarius and therefore really touching on the Pluto power dynamics. So a lot of uncomfortable sort of experiences, at least this week. I don't, yeah, it's definitely an intense week, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we got a lot of like Mars and Pluto interactions with which doesn't necessarily feel too easeful or nice. And like the only benefic was Jupiter, which faced that square, and then we got Venus and Gemini. I don't know if she's doing too much, except like maybe we can
Mm.
relate to people about our sufferings.
I mean, the moon will trine Venus probably Saturday. So,
True,
maybe
yeah.
that will be nice to like, have more socializing or talking to people about what's going on. But yeah, not a whole lot of positive interactions. Definitely getting past some challenging stuff this week. But it will be interesting to see how that correlates. And then I guess it kind of fits because May 1st, the last week, is when we had the full moon in Scorpio. So that full moon is just like, here, we're just gonna drudge up everything for the next week.
Yeah, literally, as a Scorpio full moon would do, you know.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make you like suffer for a week after. Yeah. I think yeah, I think like now, I mean, I can't really tell if it's like because right now when we're recording, we're having like we did yesterday, I have like some oppositions from the moon to all these planets in Aries. And then we're like gearing up towards the full moon in Scorpio. So I can't really tell if it's like the oppositions that are really loud or we're just getting like closer to that full moon that's also loud. It can also be like a mix of both. But
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's both. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's both because Mars is ruling the full moon. So, like, the
Right.
oppositions to Aries, it's just the same sort of energy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, that's so sweet. Good luck.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing will be okay, but just pay attention to those bigger themes that are coming up within you, I think. If you want more content from us, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Two Girls Talk Transits, and we'll see you all next week.
See you.
Bye.